All right. Well, welcome everybody. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining our virtual presentation of our Branson Nashville tours. We will be featuring our fly coach tours, and we have been joined by a special guest today. But before we meet Clay Cooper, we're just going to show you a quick little tease of his Country Express show in Branson.
Welcome to the show, y'all. You ready to have some fun? Howdy, y'all. This is Clay Cooper, and I want to welcome you to the live show capital of the world, Branson, Missouri, and my show, Clay Cooper's Country Express. Now it's kicking in, your adrenaline. No one's ever been where you're standing. We have 24 veteran entertainers performing a variety of music from classic country to rock and roll, contemporary country to pop, as well as gospel and patriotic. Don't miss this action-packed show located on West 76 Country Boulevard, just across from the Titanic Museum, the Clay Cooper Theater. Lots of variety for all ages. Again, this is Clay Cooper, and I hope you've enjoyed watching a little sample of my show, Clay Cooper's Country Express. It's more than country.
Perfect. That looks like it's going to be a great show. So I'll just tell you a little bit about Clay Cooper right now. He's been performing for Branson audiences since the age of 16, originally coming to Branson to perform with a kids band known as the Texas Gold Miners. Clay loved singing and playing bass and loved meeting new people as well. So what better place to do it than in Branson? He continued performing in several Branson shows and now owns his own theater right in Branson. Clay and his cast of 24 incredible entertainers show their versatility while performing all styles of music, as we saw in the sneak peek video. So now I'm just going to stop sharing here so we can see Clay. So now, welcome, Clay. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's great. First of all, I want to say a big congratulations. We heard you've been elected as an alderman for the city of Branson. So congratulations from all of us up here in Canada.
Yeah, I just got sworn in last night. So I'm a country music politician, I guess.
Good. That's great. And I'm sure I'm probably one of the only ones on this call today that has never been to Branson before. So can you tell us a little bit about your show and what there is to do and see in Branson during the Christmas time?
Well, there's a lot to see and do in Branson in the Christmas time. I mean, all the time, actually. First, I'll start with my show. As you mentioned, this is my 35th year of performing in Branson. And we have a cast of 25 entertainers on stage. My wife choreographs the show, costumes the show. She dances in the show, sings in the show. Two of our children, Colton and Caden, 12 and 17, they sing in the show. And then we have a trio called Third Power, and they have great harmonies, and they do all types of music. We have a Carrie Garrison, who is a unbelievable country bluegrass gospel singer. And then we have Matt Gum, who is just a fantastic comedian, does a lot of physical comedy. And then we have a 5-piece band, and we have 11 dancers. And I'm country based. I mean, country music is my love. That's all I've ever done. But we've built a huge variety show around that country base. We do everything from Merle Haggard to George Jones. We do Journey, a little bit of Bruno Mars, the Bee Gees, Joe Cocker, the Everly Brothers, Toby Keith, Garth Brooks, you name it. It's a fast-paced, high-production country music variety show with a down-home feel. I mean, I get out into the crowd and visit with people and talk to people and hear their stories. And a lot of times people in the audience become part of the show. And I think that's what kind of sets us apart from a lot of shows is there's no wall between us and the audience. We invite them in, they feel that comfort zone and they engage, and we just see where it goes from there.
Well, that's great.
And as far as Branson, the community, unbelievable. I mean, if you've never visited Branson before, it's about a 5-6 mile strip, and it's just nothing but hotels, go-kart tracks, Ferris wheels, bungee jumping. I mean, you could go see a country music show, eat an ice cream cone, bungee jump, ride a Ferris wheel, ride some go-karts. I mean, it's just nonstop entertainment and fun. In the fall time, the lights around here are incredible. A lot of sightseeing for trail of lights, so you can see lighting displays, and the family entertainment in this community is unbelievable. It's amazing that in a town, Branson's about 12,000 people, and we see anywhere from 6 to 8 million visitors a year. And it's a small community with a big city feel. It's just an awesome place to visit if you've never been here.
Yeah, it sounds like it would be a really good one. Good spot to visit. That's why we have so many buses coming down every year. So
that's right. We love seeing them Canadian buses.
Good. I know our folks love coming down and visiting too. So we see lots of other shows while we're in town. Can you maybe expand on those a little bit and give us a little more insight onto those?
Absolutely. I believe the Presley's music show is on y'all's itinerary, and they started Branson almost 55 years ago or something like that, with the first show in Branson. So it is the staple of Branson when it comes to homegrown family entertainment. I mean, they're top notch. They're dressed to the hilt, rhinestones, music, singing. It's a great family show. Of course, Sight and Sound Theaters are here in Branson, and they're doing the production of Jesus this year. My family and I went out and saw it about 2 weekends ago. Unbelievable. They just installed a $1 million LED video board on the stage. They added that this year. And when you sit in that theater, the production just literally wraps. And when I say literally, I mean, you can look over here, you can look over there, and anywhere in between. And the production is everywhere. It's the most amazing production that you'll ever see. It's unbelievable. Showboat Branson Bell, I believe, is on your itinerary. And that's a great experience because you can go have a great meal. You can see a great show. You're on this big, beautiful boat. You're out on one of the most beautiful lakes in the Midwest, Table Rock Lake. And it's just a great experience. You can go in and eat your meal, watch the show, go outside on the boat and experience the beautiful Ozark Mountains on the water at Table Rock Lake. The Haygoods is another show that you'd be seeing here, and that's at my theater.
Okay.
And the Haygoods are there's 5 brothers and a sister, and they do all types of music. Their show is really, really based around pyrotechnics and lighting, laser lights, and they've got fire pots, and they're hanging upside down, zip lining across the top of the audience. And it's a really, really high production show, quality show. And then also, I mean, you got to eat while you're here, right? Are you going to feed these people?
Of course. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, there's lots of places to eat. And the Pick and Porch Deli, which is at the Branson Craft Mall, about a mile from our theater here, is actually probably my favorite place to eat in Branson. They have a fried green BLT sandwich that'll blow your mind, the best chicken salad sandwich in the world, fried catfish like you've never had. And their deli is sitting in the back of the craft mall. So, I mean, what woman would not want to go eat a piece of catfish and then go shopping? It's unbelievable. And so there's just, I mean, the wholesomeness of Branson, Missouri, I think, is what makes it unique. I mean, you can go to a lot of places around the country and see a show, but in Branson, you can see a show and get to know the entertainers all in the same night. And it's just that's what I love about Branson. Like I said, I've been here 35 years, and these people are not just customers to me. A lot of them have become friends, and we have season pass holders and people that come back and back and back because they can get close to the entertainers and meet their families and find their backstories. So it's just a really, really unique destination.
Oh, that's great. And I hear there's lots of Christmas lights and all that kind of good stuff too to see while we're down there.
Yes, there is. Now, don't come to my house if you want to see Christmas lights. But there's a lot of options, that's for sure. My wife has been on me for years. Like, put up some Christmas lights. I'm like, well, I'll put them up and then I got to take them down a couple of months. I'll take you to the Trail of Lights and we'll show you some beautiful lights. But I think there's 3 options for for sightseeing, for Christmas lights, really beautiful displays. So that's definitely should be on your list.
Good. Yeah. We definitely take our folks down and see the lights there. So that's good. Good. If Coral doesn't have anything else to ask Clay, then we'll let you get back. I'm sure you've had a busy or having a busy day and getting back to your everything. So
absolutely, yeah. No, it's a pleasure to meet you, and it's a pleasure to talk to all the folks that are tuned in today. And just want to invite all you Canadians to come experience the Ozark Mountains and the Southern hospitality. I think they'll love our place here.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for joining us. It's been a pleasure to meet you, and we hope to see you this fall.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Take care. Okay, well, that sounds like a great tour. I'm sure everyone can agree. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Okay. Perfect. Well, thanks to Clay for joining us. I'm really happy that we were able to meet him and hear a little bit more about Branson from a local down there. So before we jump into the presentation, as you guys can probably tell, you guys are all on mute. So if you'd like to ask a question, you can find the question and answer, the Q&A box, not the chat box, just the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. And if you have a question at any time during the presentation, just ask it in there, and we will try to get to as many questions as we can at the end of the presentation. So a little bit about Westworld Tours. We are Western Canadians' premier motor coach tour company. Westworld Tours has been serving Canadians from coast to coast with escorted travel throughout North America and around the world since 2000. We celebrated our 20th anniversary last year. We offer quality components to all tours, including modern, comfortable coaches, professional tour directors, experienced, courteous drivers, baggage handling, and excellent accommodations. Our tours include all the sites and attractions important to our clients, and we also provide several meals throughout the tour. Thousands of passengers have chosen Westworld Tours' first-class style of motor coach touring, enjoying the great value, security, and stress-free environment, all while making new friendships along the way. We receive a high level of satisfaction from our passenger surveys, and I know our tour directors love seeing familiar faces on tours. And so we're just going to do a quick poll right now, and it should pop up on your screen right away here. But we'd like to know how many with us today have traveled with us before. And if you're joining us on Facebook, you can just type a yes or no into the comments section if you've traveled with us before. So we'll just let that poll run. There's a good, and it looks like about a 50-50 mix, pretty close to that right now. Just wait, see a few more people answer here. Yeah, so it's looking like about a 50-50 mix, just a little more than 50% have not traveled with us. So we hope that you will join us coming up once we get back traveling and maybe head down and visit Clay in Brownson. Perfect. Thanks for participating in that. That gives us a good idea of everybody. And as we talk about hopefully traveling again soon, the world has been turned upside down. Travel as much or more than any other industry. We have canceled all of our tours up until the end of July, and we are continually monitoring the situation. The health and safety of our travelers and staff is our highest priority right now. And we understand that the money you trusted with us may be better used for other things than travel right now. And to respect that, we have refunded everybody that has booked with us that were on canceled tours. And we don't feel right issuing travel credits like some of the other suppliers. So, it is your money. You get to decide where and when you want to travel with it, and not us. So we gave everyone their money back, but we hope everyone is staying safe, and we can't wait to get back out on the road. So now we're going to talk a little bit about the tours. So we have two tours that visit Branson, our Branson, Nashville, Pigeon Forge, an old time Christmas tour. So this tour is where country music and Christmas collide. It's a tour of Branson, Nashville, and Pigeon Forge. And like Clay mentioned, we'll travel through the beautiful Smoky and Ozark Mountains before stopping in Pigeon Forge and Dollywood. From there, we'll head into Nashville, the heart of country music and the home to some of the most noteworthy entertainment and nightlife in the world. After a memorable evening spent at the famous Grand Ole Opry, we're off to the Memphis for a trip back in time with the King on the Platinum Tour of Graceland. Finish the tour off with 4 nights in Brownson, where the fun continues as we explore the best that Missouri has to offer. This tour is offered as an all-coach, which departs from Saskatchewan, but for all of our friends that are outside the province, we have an option where you can fly into Louisville and fly home from Kansas City. So you'll get everything the tour has to offer. And these tours are offered every year at around the same time. And now I'm pleased to introduce you to Koral. She's one of our senior tour directors, and I'm sure some of you are familiar with her, but she will guide us through the tours this afternoon.
All right, it's a pleasure to be here with you this afternoon, everyone. I'm so pleased to have you joining us today. And I must say, I'm actually really pleased to hear how many of you haven't traveled with Westworld tours before. It's really exciting to have some new faces out there joining us. And we sure look forward, I hope, to having you join us in the future. And for those of you who have traveled with us, many of you dear friends to us as tour directors with Westworld, no question about that. So we are so pleased to have each and every one of you here. It was also fantastic to have Clay joining us this afternoon. That was really special. And shout out to Mark Miller of Brownson, Missouri, who I believe is joining us today as well, watching us quietly. He is a behind the scenes person in Brownson who does so much for us as tour directors and guides to make our lives easier, and one of those behind the scenes people. So big shout out to him as well. So as Leanne mentioned, I'm a senior tour director for Westworld. Some of you that are with us today, I know very well, and some of you I don't. So big welcome to all of you. For myself, I have been a tour director with Westworld since 2001. I just passed my 20th rather, my 20th anniversary with Westworld just on April 10th. So it is my genuine pleasure to represent Westworld Tours as tour director, and share many tours with our clients and passengers that we care about so deeply. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started on that note. Before we get into all the pictures of Brownson and Nashville and Pigeon Forge and Memphis and so on, this is a screen that we always have to begin our webinars, our Zoom presentations that we're doing. And some of you have heard me say this before, but it really is all about the camaraderie on the coach. And it's always worth mentioning, no matter how many of these presentations we do, because frankly, I believe it's one of the highlights of a trip. And it's one of the highlights of group travel, no question about that. So they say a stranger is just a friend you haven't met yet. So in this photo here, you can see a lot of new friends. It looks like traveling together. It's the fun we share. It really is. Some silly thing that happens during the day and we're all laughing about it in the coach. Sometimes it's games that we have time to play on a trip like this to Brownson and Nashville, even decorating the coach for Christmas. That can be a lot of fun as well. So, and again, we always like to emphasize the idea of worry-free travel, just being able to sit back and relax, and as it says, leave the driving to us. So ideally, it's a worry-free experience for you. On that note, as we get started, everyone, there's a few really important things I want to mention about this tour. So we are focusing on our fly coach tours today, of course. The one tour, as Leanne mentioned, where we fly into Louisville, Kentucky, and this tour does include Churchill Downs that we're going to talk about in a moment in Lexington, Kentucky. It includes our stay in Tennessee as well, and then we have our shorter tour that we'll touch on that we actually fly into Kansas City to go straight to Brownson and skipping Tennessee. Many of the shows that you see on whichever one of these tours you chose are the same. There are a few tours, a few shows rather, that actually vary between the two tours, but most of them do overlap. As I said, there are some things that are really important and really worth mentioning to you about this tour. Here's one of the things that I think is fantastic. No lineups for our guests. Now, you know how it is if you're going to a show, often you'll be standing in a queue, waiting in the line at the box office, trying to get tickets. On our tours with Westworld, the beautiful thing is there is no standing in line. All of that is pre-done for you ahead of time. Those tickets are purchased. It's a matter of our motor coaches pulling up at the theaters that we're going to. And yeah, a friendly greeter comes out. I just find everyone is so friendly down there. And the greeter will come out, generally step onto the bus and give the group a big welcome. And then it's just a matter of following their flag and getting ushered right to our seats. And then from there, you have a chance to get up and go shop, buy your popcorn, whatever you like. But it's really nice. So no lineups. That is a big selling feature. And another thing too is the variety of shows. And I really feel that that can't be emphasized enough. It is so true. And for those of you joining us today who have been on these tours with us, I'm sure you'll be able to second that no two shows are alike. So you never get tired of going to shows in Brownson, for example, because they're all different. They really are. And a huge kind of a selling feature, I guess you could say, of these tours is we do all included breakfast and all included evening meals, whether you like to call it supper or dinner, all the evening meals are included. I find it's perfect because people still get to make some choices at lunchtime. You want to have a bite to eat, maybe you don't. You had a big breakfast, you're going to hold off for dinner in the evening, just have popcorn for lunch. So it's really fantastic. All the breakfast and all the evening meals are included throughout the entire tour. Well, as we begin our presentation, now looking at the slides I want to go over with you, we're actually going to start in the bottom because that is the first attraction that we do. Both of the, there's a picture on the right-hand bottom of the Indy 500 Motor Speedway Museum that the All Coach Tour does. On the left-hand side of the screen, however, if you look at the bottom, you see the jockey and the horse. On our Fly Coach tours, your first stop, you fly into Louisville, Kentucky. Our first stop, just a short drive away, is Lexington, Kentucky. And this is home to one of the most famous races in the world. They call it the most exciting 2 minutes in sports, and that is the home of the famous Kentucky Derby at Churchill Downs. Really, really interesting place. There's lots of fun facts behind this as well. Just to share a couple of those little fun facts with you, because as a tour guide, of course, I love fun facts. There have to date now been 13 Triple Crown winners. And the greatest, I guess you could say, probably of all those Triple Crown horses was the great Secretariat, who won in 1973, and Secretariat's record still stands at the Kentucky Derby. So yeah, and also one more little fun fact, over all the years since the Kentucky Derby's been held, just 3 fillies, just 3 female horses have ever won the Kentucky Derby. So when we visit with our Westworld groups, we have a chance to see the museum, which is very interesting. And even more interesting is walking past those twin spires, thinking about it, what it's like on Derby Day with the ladies and the big hats and the mint juleps and just all the excitement of the whole experience. And often when we're there, there are horses that are being breezed on the tracks. So even just on any, quiet morning, it's pretty special to actually watch racehorses out practicing. So that is our first attraction on the Fly Coach tour at Churchill Downs in Lexington. Just above, you're seeing a couple shots there of a lady I think is a very, very special lady, probably one of the greatest songwriters, an amazing singer, an incredible entertainer, and that is the great Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton's hometown is Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. She grew up in Sevier County. And we spent some time in beautiful Pigeon Forge in the Great Smoky Mountains. We have a chance to tour at Dollywood with its beautiful Christmas lights. It has a real down-home feel, everything from, carriage making to lye soap making. Again, the incredible Christmas lights, fantastic shows that you can take in during our time at Dollywood, and also the Dixie Stampede as well, which is Dolly Parton's own production. So the Dixie Stampede, a lot of fun. It's like sitting in a big arena where, you're watching the show down below you. You're having a meal at the same time, which maybe I shouldn't say this if you've never been there, but they're not going to bring you cutlery. So, you pack some plastic ones in your bag if you want to. But yeah, they're going to bring your food, not your silverware, to watch that show. But it's a lot of fun. Here's some more shots that we have up on the screen now of Dollywood, the Dollywood Express, and just some of the shows and the lights. So really known for its just very personal atmosphere. I think that probably is exemplified by Dolly Parton and who she is as a person, just a real warmth and real sense of hospitality. So very special place for our guests to enjoy. And that's a look at Dollywood. So that was Pigeon Forge, and moving on farther into the beautiful state of Tennessee, we're looking at Music City, USA, or sometimes even known as the country music capital of the world as well, too. So, but Music City, USA is really its official nickname, and this is the beautiful city of Nashville. You can see a lovely picture of the Nashville skyline there. But during our stay in Nashville, we have some fantastic attractions to take in. I think we have another screen up, so we'll talk more about it. But you got a good look there of the Ryman Auditorium in the lower left hand of the screen. So we will be taking in the Grand Ole Opry. There's actually a small photo of the Grand Ole Opry just in the center bottom. You can see, the Ryman Auditorium is known as the Mother Church of country music, kind of an interesting nickname. The Grand Ole Opry has actually been held in 6 different locations. However, it's something that, a little fun fact, many of you maybe didn't know, but I'm sure there's some big fans out there of the Grand Ole Opry. So you may know that wasn't always the name of it. It was a WSM barn dance. And it's kind of a fun story of where the name Grand Ole Opry ever came from. Well, a man by the name of George D. Hay was the radio announcer. And apparently, so the story goes, back in the early days, the show before the WSM barn dance actually featured classical and opera music. He jokingly said one night, well, we've just had opera and now we're going to have a Grand Ole Opry. And the name stuck, and that's how it all started. It's a radio show. It's always been a radio show. They have had a Grand Ole Opry show for over 4,600 consecutive Saturday nights. So every Saturday night since November of 1925. And also it is featured on Friday nights. It wasn't always, but those are just some fun facts for you about the Grand Ole Opry. And I think it probably goes without saying that is definitely one of our highlights of our stay in the beautiful city of Nashville. And here's some other highlights of our stay in Nashville, everyone. We're looking at the country music Hall of Fame in the top left-hand corner. If you've been to Nashville, some of us were joking as Westworld staff. We're like, we don't recognize it. That's the side view looking over the park. We always walk up to the front on the street side, but it is fantastic. The history, the costumes, it is really a comprehensive look at country music in the Country Music Hall of Fame. Bottom right-hand corner, another shot of Nashville, and top right and bottom left, this is another really, I think, a really special attraction that we visit during our stay in Nashville, Tennessee. It's called the RCA Studio B, and it is, if memory serves me correctly, I believe it's actually the oldest recording studio in Nashville. Excuse me, is also famous for beginning what they call the Nashville sound as well too. There are so many fantastic country singers that recorded there. They're almost too numerous to mention, but just to name a few, here's some old names for you: Chet Atkins, Eddie Arnold, and then some greats like Roy Orbison, of course, Elvis Presley, Dolly Parton, Roger Miller. It just goes on and on. So that's just a few names. One of my favorite stories I remember hearing though at RCA Studio B was Elvis Presley recording "Are You Lonesome Tonight" and how he asked for all the lights to be turned out. He actually wanted to record that song in the dark, which there was something about that really stuck with me when he recorded "Are You Lonesome Tonight." So yeah, so that's a look at some of our fantastic attractions in Nashville. And then moving on through Tennessee, of course, you can't go to Tennessee without going to Memphis, and you can't go to Memphis without seeing the home of this gentleman here on the left-hand side of the screen. And of course, everyone knows who that is. That is the man they call the King, the great Elvis Presley. Well, of course, Elvis Presley passed away 1977. We're looking at his tombstone in Meditation Gardens in the top right-hand corner of the screen. A couple photos, there's a pink Cadillac at the bottom there looking at the front of Graceland. One thing that's always really struck me about visiting Graceland is that considering Elvis Presley's status and how important he was to the world of music, that's really quite a humble home. It really is, and I'm always struck by that. I'm also struck by what a time capsule it is too. When you walk into the house, and by the way, you have an audio headset. It's really easy to use. It's a really nice way of touring Graceland because you can go at your own pace and spend as much time as you want. But you walk in and you're looking at the living room and the kitchen and the jungle room, the famous jungle room, and so on. And it really looks like it must have when he left it back in 1977. The upstairs is actually still off limits. So much to tour. Recently been redone again, Graceland. So yeah, really modernized things there. The museums, of course, the mansion tour itself, the airplanes called the Lisa Marie and the Hound Dog, and of course, Meditation Gardens, and just so much more to see at Graceland. So for a lot of people who were serious Elvis fans, it's a pretty big deal going to Graceland. But there's more to see in the city of Memphis as well, too. In fact, there are other truly great musicians who got their start in Memphis. Well, some of those names, of course, one, the great B.B. King, W.C. Handy as well. Yeah, so a lot of blues music came out of Memphis, and you see that small photo right next to the pink Cadillac at the bottom of your screen. That's a photo down on Beale Street. So we take our groups down there for an evening, and you can just go and explore, and it's pretty fun to do that. I've popped into B.B. King's Blues Club myself and heard some pretty fantastic music in there. So yeah, a lot of fun going down to Beale Street for an evening. And we also do a photo stop of the Lorraine Motel too. It would take another day really to tour it. So it's not something we have a chance to actually tour, but we do take you for a photo stop anyhow of the Lorraine Motel. So talk about unbelievable history as well. So that is our stay in the city of Memphis. And then making our way onto Brownson. It's a really special place. like Clay was saying, it's actually not that big. It's a little shy of 12,000 people living in Brownson. So it really has a small town feel in a sense, but it also kind of reminds you a little bit of being in Las Vegas, except that it's a very, very family-oriented type of town. So yeah, I know last count I had was 45 theaters. If anyone can correct me if I'm wrong, please feel free. But I'm sure there's more than 45 theaters in Brownson today. But probably one of the things that really, kind of got Brownson going was way back in the early 1700s. Attraction, kind of came to that area of the beautiful Ozark Mountains. Some of you who like literature the way that I do probably know the name of a book called Shepherd of the Hills, and that was published in the year 1907. It said that, that publicity for the Ozark Mountains and the people who live there really began to draw people into the area. And like the Great Smoky Mountains of Tennessee, the Ozarks, it's a really, really pretty area. So yeah, and then eventually the theaters began to pop up, particularly down on Highway 76 in Brownson and all over town, that's for sure. So we're looking here at some of the shows that we visit. Let's start in the bottom left-hand corner. Of course, there's a shot of Clay Cooper's very own show that we see. Going up, the Grand Jubilee show as well too. And then going over to the right-hand side, that is a really beautiful theater. That is the Sight and Sound Theater. Clay mentioned that as well. And in fact, the photo that's kind of in the center at the bottom is a photo of the Jesus show. I've been lucky enough to see a handful of shows at the Sight and Sound Theater. They've all been spectacular. I've seen the Jesus show. It's amazing. It really is. Clay was talking a little bit about the theater. A term that I was thinking of myself earlier was full immersion. You really feel like you are immersed in the show. The special effects are incredible. They really are. So I can't say enough about how special that theater and how special that show, the magic and just the inspiration of the Jesus show is really lovely. And then in the bottom right-hand corner, we do the Grand Country Jubilee show as well too. The Grand Country at Grand Hall. Some of you have been to Brownson before, might know that theater. If you don't know it for its show, you might know it for its great food and shopping as well too. So that's something else that we often do, is have a fantastic meal there. Clay was talking about the food earlier. Same here. I can't say enough about the good food in Brownson. It's not a low calorie trip, I got to tell you. So there's a lot of great food to be eaten, and I usually am a little guilty of picking out on too many of those candied nuts and popcorn when I'm in Brownson. So here's a few more of the shows that we take in, everyone. On this screen, we've got the Haygoods, and we've got the Duttons as well. We've got the Presley's Jubilee in the bottom, right at the bottom in the center. I'm going to save that because I want to tell you a few more fun facts. I do believe we have one more shot coming up still of the Presleys, so I'll leave that one for just a few more minutes. And then we have a shot at the bottom of the Showboat Brownson Bell that Clay also mentioned too. And then a wide angle shot of the theater on the Showboat Brownson Bell at the top there. So 2-hour cruise, 3-course dinner that you eat right in your seats while you're watching the show. Of course, you can go outside and go up on the observation deck and just enjoy the beautiful views of Table Rock Lake as well. That's another really awesome one. I love the Showboat Brownson Bell. It's a great show on there as well too. So that's a fun one. So lots of variety. Like I say, there's so much variety of the shows we go to, and no two are alike. It's really true. This is just some of the beautiful pastoral scenery that we drive through. Of course, again, we do have that all coach tour as well too, and of course, even on the fly coach tour, you're still going to be spending time on the motor coach with us, and just enjoying First of all, those fall colors, have a look at that. We got some great shots there. Kind of that effect, you might wonder why the name Great Smoky Mountains. You can kind of see in that one shot in the top left of your screen. But that beautiful pastoral scenery is just so lovely as we're driving through that as well too. I really like that shot of the barn and the bales, and these are actual pictures from our tour. So this these are scenes that you can see. And in the bottom left-hand corner, another of the last attractions that we take in, Precious Moments, and that's in Carthage, Missouri. So that's at the bottom of the screen on the left there. Started back by a man named Sam Butcher. I believe, if memory serves me, I want to say it was 1989. Some of you probably familiar with the Precious Moments figurines. There was what they called the original 21, and of course it just expanded and went crazy from there. Yeah, there was a time when these were the most sought after and most popular figurines in the world, with the little teardrop eye children, and on the grounds, very peaceful, little melancholy. You have a beautiful chapel on the grounds as well. So time for a little tour and time just to wander and take in Precious Moments, and have a little lunch break, maybe do some shopping if you like as well too. Okay. And so we're looking at the Brownson Festival of Lights screen here, everyone. As I mentioned, of course, we talked about the Old Time Christmas tour, and then we have the Festival of Lights. So you have the various options, the tour that takes in Tennessee and all those attractions we've just talked about in Nashville and Memphis and Pigeon Forge. And then you also have the tour that flies into Kansas City, and then you go directly to Brownson. So this is, maybe that's something else that's also noteworthy, everyone, is this is a tour quite unique in that I can't think of any other tour that we do with Westworld where people will go multiple, and I mean multiple times on the same tour, just because there's so many shows and so much to see and do in Brownson. And one thing that is really important to mention are the gorgeous Christmas lights that we see, because it's pretty important. It's really by design that we go down in November, because it's just so popular with our groups. You can see this shot here on the left-hand side of the screen. If you've been to Brownson, you might recognize what you're even looking at there at Silver Dollar City and the lighting of the Christmas tree. So it's not an exaggeration to say that the Christmas lights in Brownson are like that. It is spectacular. So if you're on the tour that's including Tennessee, you're seeing over 4 million Christmas lights just at Dollywood alone, to say nothing of places like Silver Dollar City that we visit in Brownson. And then I know as tour directors and guides, something else we like to do is just take a cruise one night down Highway 76 through Brownson, just to check out the beautiful Christmas lights. And of course, the famous Trail of Lights drive that Clay mentioned as well too. That is definitely something that we take in. So the Christmas lights are really one of the attractions in itself on the tour. And here we have some more shows that we see in Brownson. These are all tours, or all shows, excuse me, that Westworld does. We've got Neil McCoy on the left. On the far right, we've got the Texas Tenors. Below that, we've got the Gatlin Brothers. On the left hand, or excuse me, in the center rather, we already talked about Silver Dollar City. Below that, we've got the Christmas Wonderland Spectacular as well too. And something else too that I want to mention for you, everyone, is that we also allow time on our tours with Westworld for optional shows. So there will be some open time slots on your itinerary during our stay in Brownson, whereby we as guides and our support staff in Brownson with us will help you set up optional shows that you can go to. And often we will suggest an optional show and we'll set it up. Sometimes times, folks come up to us and say, oh, I really wanted to go to this show. And almost all the time we can make it happen for you as well too, if there's something specific that you wanted to go to. So optional shows are always something that we have in our lineup during our tour. And if you prefer over going to optional shows, something I love in Brownson is the shopping opportunities. Oh my, there is some fantastic shopping opportunities in Brownson. And I won't even say ladies, there's fantastic shopping, because certainly there are some men who enjoy shopping as well. I know, because I'm married to one of them. So yeah, sometimes guys like shopping as well too. And let me tell you, there's some fantastic shopping in Brownson. So the outlet malls, and even just some of the places that we go for shows and theaters, like Grand Country Music Halls. So that can be a lot of fun. And when you have that free time, it's possible that might be something more to your taste as well. So shopping or optional shows, there's so much to do. And we're almost finished our presentation now, everyone. So again, on the right-hand side of the screen, let's start. We're looking at the Showboat Brownson Bell. Of course, there's Clay Cooper's Country Express in the center, and the Jesus Show in the Sight and Sound Theater at the bottom. And then on the left-hand side, I said I would mention this again, and I like to, just because it's such really a fantastic show. This is the Presley's Country Jubilee over on the left-hand side. So multi-generations, it's another one of those shows in Brownson that has had multiple generations participate in the cast lineup, and they're really, really talented. The Presleys, there's some fantastic musicians and singers in this family. It's a lot of, traditional country music. You've got your bluegrass as well, which I always think is a lot of fun too. And you've got some great comedy. Honestly, probably some of the best comedy in Brownson, in my opinion, Herkimer. And yeah, you've got the guys in the center there, the father and son from the family. They're incredibly talented. They really are. But it's not just the talent. It's also the history of the Presley's Country Jubilee as well, too. Clay mentioned this, one of the original shows. And it's actually true that the Presleys started performing in Ozark caverns. They actually literally performed in a cave, which sounds silly, but true. They performed in an Ozark cavern, excuse me. And then I believe it was 1967 built one of the very first theaters in Brownson, Missouri on Highway 76. So a lot of really cool history there as well. So that's just a little look for you all of our shows in Brownson and some of the things we include. Well, thank you.
Great, thank you, Coral. So one of the other things is we love hearing from our passengers, and at the end of every tour, our guests are given a survey where they can rate the hotels, the attractions, the shows, the meals, and how the overall tour went. And that way we can continually improve our tours and make them better every year. So here are a couple reviews from past passengers. Maureen says she had an excellent, fun-packed, very entertaining tour, and our tour guide and driver were were wonderful. Janice said that I have just come home from this trip, an old time Christmas. It was the best bus trip I have ever taken. Both Fred and Dawn went out of their way to make it special. It was a great start to the festive season. I would not hesitate to travel with Westworld Tours again and would recommend them to our friends. So I just also wanted to touch on our commitment to safe travel. So when the world turned upside down, Westworld Tours was there for you by ensuring that all canceled tours were refunded in full directly back to you. And we want you, our guests, to experience the best. And just as we were there for you in the beginning, we will be there for you once again to welcome you back on board once things open up. So our priority at Westworld Tours is to ensure your health and safety while exploring, experiencing, and creating lifelong memories. With your welfare being top of mind, Westworld Tours has enriched our already robust health and safety protocols, giving you that much needed confidence to travel once again. With that being said, we are anticipating we won't be traveling until everyone is vaccinated. But in the meantime, we are making sure that we have protocols in place, and we'll be doing all the extras to keep everybody safe when we get back at it. And I just wanted to say a big thank you for joining us this afternoon. We hope you have enjoyed the presentation and will join us for our next one. We have Africa coming up on May 5th at 10 a.m. Saskatchewan time, and we'll be learning more about our African adventure, joined by our friends in South Africa. And stay tuned for more information on our Victoria and Churchill presentations. Those will be coming up within the next few weeks, and we'll send out some more information on those. And if there are any tours that you would like to see virtual presentations on or added to our tour lineup, please feel free to drop a comment in the question and answer box, and we can get something sorted out for that. So now I just want to say another big thank you to Koral and to Clay Cooper for joining us today and telling us a little bit more about our tours. We will answer some questions. If you aren't able to stick around but have a question or would like more information on our tours or other tours, please visit our website, westworldtours.com, or you can email us at information@westworldtours.com. We will also be sending out a follow-up email in a couple days with the links to both of these tours, so you'll be able to see which shows are included with which tour. And if you aren't already on our mailing list, there'll be an option in that email as well to join, and you can find us on Facebook. So thanks again, everybody, and I will see here if we have any questions. Okay.
There's one coming in.
Okay, yeah. It looks like Carol asked if the Amish tour will be brought back. And yes, Carol, we don't have it in the works for next year yet. We may do it next year, but likely for sure in 2023. And Elaine would be interested in seeing a presentation of a West Coastal tour of the USA. Great. We do offer our California tour, but we will keep that in mind and see what we can come up with for a West Coast tour. Okay, it looks like here, let's see what else we got. Shirley said a great place to holiday and has been 4 times. That's great. Helen congratulates Koral on her 20th anniversary with Westworld Tours and says you make the tour enjoyable and memorable. Okay, and I think that is all, unless Dean, you see any other questions that I have missed? Oh. Let's see. Do we offer tours to East Canada? Yes, so we have Cindy asked, do we offer tours to East Canada? Yes, Cindy, we do have some tours to Eastern Canada. We have our Maritimes tour, which is offered every fall, September. We also offer a fly tour that's offered in the summertime, usually August. We did do a presentation on that last week or the week before, and you should be able to find that on our Facebook page, but we can also email it to you if you'd like some more information on the tour. We also have a Newfoundland tour that we do out east, so we can also send you information on that tour. Darlene, could the Maritime tour be repeated as we missed it? Yes, so we can send you information on that, Darlene. We did do a presentation a couple weeks ago, and it should be on our Facebook page, but we can repost it, or we can try sending it to you. And we can also send you the information on the tour itself, or you can visit on our website and get that.
And Leanne, just to chime in here, the presentations, all of our presentations that we do are still on our Facebook page. So the Maritimes tour, if you just go into Facebook/Westworld Tours, and you may have to scroll down a bit to find the Maritimes presentation, but it's there and you can watch it anytime. There is a couple of more questions. And one says there's 2 comments on Facebook Live, but unfortunately I'm not able to see those, but I will answer them after this show is over. And another one asked, what happened to Mark Miller? I don't know, maybe that's Mark's mother who did that. I'm not sure, but Mark's our go-to person in Branson, and so he was around for a bit, but he's busy working in Branson. He was at the Clay Cooper Theater with Clay at the time. So Mark is around.
Good. Well, if there's no more questions, we will thank everyone again for joining us, and we hope to see you at our next presentation for Africa. Hope everyone has a...
Sorry, Leanne.
No, go ahead.
Say thank you as well from me, everyone. It was lovely to share the time with you this afternoon. Said it before, but from all of my fellow tour directors and guides, we're thinking about you all. We miss you, and all of us, I know, we can't wait to travel with you again. And it was a pleasure to share your time this afternoon. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, everybody. Take care.